That's a long-term goal for us that we're able to achieve today.
It seems like you've already had a lot of interest and buzz from people who are excited to build on top of MaidSafe, or to be farmers, or to just use it.
Yeah.
Is it ready? Or when are we going to be able to start using it? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, we were going to actually put the test network up for today's show, which would have meant taking a particular shortcut in the code, which I've said don't do that. So the test network will be up and running in the next week or so. We expect that to run for maybe 4 to 6 weeks, and people can test this out. Application developers can start building their applications to the API. Then we'll run test network number 2 with the Safecoin production, farmers and builders being paid. That probably will be another 4 to 6 weeks, and then we go into full launch. So within the next short period of months, the whole system will be up and running. And really, we're kind of glad that we're doing it this way, because we don't want to offer fait accompli to the rest of the industry. And we've been getting a lot of developers working with us, and we're really saying, how do you want us to look? What's going to suit you guys the best? And there's, as I say, there's about 170 of them now working with us, and we get great feedback. So with the next 2 to 3 months, we should see the whole thing go through the test phases and then becoming real. And at the point it becomes real, there should be plenty of applications. We're hoping 10, 20, 30 applications will be released with the network. That's going to be a very exciting time.
So you told me that you've been thinking about this since 1997 and actively working on it since 2006, is that right?
Yeah.
So, how are you feeling getting close to the launch?
Oh, it's a strange thing, because this is the correct thing, and people are excited by it, and they're starting to tell us how excited they are. And personally, I just think, yeah, that's good, because it's the right thing to do. This is the correct sort of chain of events. And personally, I don't really get too excited by these kind of logical things that are correct. It's a bit like when I was on the lifeboat and going out in rough weather to save someone who was in trouble at sea. The closer you got to the casualty and the worse the weather was, the more focused you become. And I think this is very similar. This is something that's so important for humanity and us as a species, that the team around us and back in the office in Scotland are unbelievably focused, because we need to do this. This has to happen. And it doesn't have to happen for us, it has to happen for everyone, because our impression, we make this free to the whole world, then the other 5 billion that don't have internet connectivity, or people who are put off the internet, can all come back on it. And if someone down in Africa or some of the other poorer countries can get access to this data and access to this communication system and start curing diseases, then that's a phenomenal return for us. And that's every bit as important as a good, solid business model. So I think we're managing to achieve an awful lot in one go here, is implementing a very solid business model that should be profitable for the vast amount of developers in the planet, and at the same time giving individuals and humans the ability to really start collaborating and researching worldwide. So that research ability to me is incredibly important. I can't wait until someone from some unknown place either invents something we didn't think possible or cures a disease we couldn't cure. That's really going to be the thing that says Project Safe was worth it. We think that should be soon.
Right. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the structure of the organization. You are someone clearly who believes in decentralization all the way. Anything that can be centralized should be decentralized. And, right now, as I understand it, MaidSafe is sort of structured as a company where there's a nonprofit entity that owns about half of it, and then 30% is owned by the employees.
Yep.
And then the other 20% I'm not clear on, but...
That's private investors. So that was we had to raise about $5 million to get here. And we did that through friends and family that we showed the story to, and we told them the story. And it was quite interesting, because away at the start, I do a presentation on the whiteboard that explains what this is. It takes about 4 hours, but I do tell a couple of jokes, so it's not too bad. And 100% of the people who've seen that presentation invested in us and believed in us.
Wow.
So that's why we can remember the date, the 22nd of February 2006. That's people started believing enough in this that they gave up money to allow us to do it. So we do intend to give them phenomenal returns, but as the way that it's structured is for them to get phenomenal returns, everyone involved with the project, even companies we've not met yet, should get the same phenomenal return. And that's a pretty decentralised way to look at things. And it's really, I think personally, I believe you get much more strength by giving. So the more you give away, the stronger you become. And not being completely money driven to the extent of want to rob people of their wealth, but looking at providing value for me is a really essential way to work. So the more value you can provide to the more people, the greater the collective wealth, and to become part of a society that are as wealthy as each other. It seems to be quite sensible, because if you're the flower in the field that grows taller than any other one, you'll just get blown over by the wind. So you're better to share a bit out and let all your friends grow with you. And when you do that, you maintain stable relationships. That, I think, is crucial to people's own ability to live in a happy manner. There's no point in going to bed rich and sad. You go to bed very comfortable with lots of friends, and that's I don't think all your friends should go to bed with you, but that's what our kind of outlook, and my outlook in life is incentivise as many people as possible, give them as great a return as possible, but also a feeling of inclusion. So it's not just putting money in a horse and getting a good return on that. It's this feeling of inclusion and saying, here's your return, that's whatever multiple times your investment, but potentially we've saved lives here. We may have changed things for the better for a great many people. So be happy about what you've done. It's almost like giving to charity but getting a return from it. And that's really what we're striving for with MadeSafe. And it seems to be paying off for us now.
Right. So do you consider MadeSafe a sort of a DAO or decentralized autonomous organization, or is it going to that direction in the future?
I think it's one of the things. I think the way I see MadeSafe is there'll be lots of MadeSafes which won't have anything to do with us or our investors. There'll be lots of MadeSafe type companies doing pretty much the same work that we're doing, and they'll benefit as much as we'll benefit. So I see decentralisation that way, i.e. we don't keep control. One of the things that we're looking to do is take Coda, for instance, and we've got a huge portfolio of intellectual property rights and trademarks and patents and whatnot, and really place them with Coda so that we can start sharing them with the whole community so that we all become protected. And I think Genghis Khan was able to take over most of the world because he really persuaded people that it was a great idea. He couldn't have done it on his own. So big changing events in the world require as much cooperation with as many people as possible. And this is really the way that we're looking to go. And the internet's a $5 trillion marketplace. There's certainly plenty of revenue to make as many people comfortable as possible. But more importantly, there's revenue to enable people to start contributing to society. And that there's key. If someone, for instance, was to cure a cancer that you were eventually going to get, it would be very valuable for us. So there's a lot of ways of looking at decentralisation of decentralised companies. And I think you can have companies which are small, don't grow too large, and replicate those companies. For a lot of software development and research into medical things, it requires people in the same office with whiteboards and debating and arguing. So I think there's a halfway house for me that everybody can't be on Skype trying to talk about very in-depth things. So it's lots of small companies distributed about is the target that we're aiming for.
Paint a picture for me in, maybe 5 years. Someone's going to log into a decentralized computer or perhaps phone or tablet or something like that with just a couple of passwords. They'll be able to communicate with their friends anywhere in the world. They'll be able to send and receive Bitcoin payments. They'll be able to store their data, access all their files that they've ever created, do other types of social networking, email, encrypted email perhaps, messaging. Tell me what that's going to be like, or what else you see people being able to do with this.
I think that's only the start. I think that will happen within a year. The current internet services will be replaced by this, and that's okay. It's not particularly exciting. It may be great that we've all got this privacy, security and freedom. What made Safe for Project Safe really allows those the next version of applications and communications, the things that we haven't even considered today, like a decentralised federated news system, which would be a large thing for me. It's the news is collected by the people, ranked by the people, and then distributed to every person on the planet through an avatar in their own language. And really, I would love to see the Israeli and the Palestinian getting the exact same news, and then see if they hate each other quite as much. And I don't think they will. I think humans are pretty bred to look after other humans, and we make these unnatural borders and political differences between people, and propaganda is used to control that. I think we can start removing some of those barriers pretty quickly. Another thing that I'm particularly motivated by is distributed autonomous intelligence, where we can have machines that can actually own themselves in Bitcoin for a start, which is an interesting aspect, but communicate and collaborate through this cyber brain, which is the MadeSafe network. And that collaboration would pretty much be through maths and logic. So these machines would be coded to try, for instance, if you had robots, you could teach one French, they would all know French in the world immediately. Or you could teach one how to do CPR, they all know how to do CPR. And that ability for all of these AI type machines or CT scanners to be able to start pulling together some of the intelligence that we as humans couldn't even imagine, like a CT scanning machine that could read 3 trillion data points per second, talking to all the other CT scanning machines worldwide, would be able to identify problems that we could never imagine, no matter how good a doctor we were. So distributed autonomous intelligence is another thing, and that's what I think MadeSafe will allow. It's not just the replacement of the current broken and damaged systems and make them more efficient. It's the next swathe of things. And these are only some examples that I can dream of at the moment. And when you actually include all of society and say, what can you all dream of? I think we're going to be absolutely amazed.
That's beautiful. And I love it. But I imagine that there are people out there that don't want information to be decentralized and don't want apps and technologies like this to be decentralized. They want the status quo, and they want centralization so that they can keep an eye on people and that they can have the control. They can remove the control from the individual and have it in centralized institutions or for themselves. So have you gotten any heat from those kind of people? Have you encountered any issues or pushback for once people realize what you're trying to do?
No heat so far. I think that's to come. But I was thinking today, I've got this talk at 4:15. I was thinking, how do you sum all this up? And what somebody says, what's MadeSafe? What are you trying to do? What's this Project Safe? And I really got it down to one word, and I think it's inevitability. This is not something that's going to be stopped. This is evolution of mankind. This is our brains moving to the next level. So it's the same inevitability as the car, or the internet, or the telephone systems, or penicillin. And these things, especially the internet, is starting to make inroads into reducing greed and corruption and starting to make us all a little bit more educated on an even basis, especially with some of the university projects at the moment. So this is inevitable. There's no point trying to stop it. It's a very much King Canute approach. So we've got it. It's open source. It's available to everyone. There's many copies of the system about. But it is inevitable. You can't stop evolution. And it doesn't matter. I mean, there was Luddites years ago tried to stop the Industrial Revolution. It doesn't work. People tried to stop trains. People tried to stop telephones. Almost everything. Bitcoin, for instance, is going through that at the moment. And it's a great thing because mass change to society requires that there's pushback. and that pushback is probably important to make sure that we're doing the correct thing and we're doing it regardless. So the more people push back, the more secure we'll make the system and the more efficient it'll become. So it actually becomes a self-defeating thing to push against devolution.
Wow, I love it. So David, where can people go online to find out more about MadeSafe and about you and how to get involved with the crowdfunding?
MadeSafe.net is the main website for MadeSafe, and the crowdfunding is safecoin.io. Safecoin's the digital currency that's underpinning the whole business model for all of the builders and farmers. So safecoin.io and madesafe.net. And I have a blog where I certainly talk about a lot of strange things, metaquestions.me. So more ideas there.
Great. David Irvine, thank you so much for talking with me today. This has been really cool, and I can't wait to see where this technology goes and check in with you again at some point in the future. Thank you so much.
Brilliant, Stephanie. Thank you very much.
CryptoKit is the world's first Chrome browser Bitcoin wallet. It's the easiest, fastest Bitcoin wallet payment system. With a simple one-click install, it takes just seconds to get your wallet set up. And because CryptoKit finds the address and payment for you, there's no more fussing around or tab switching. CryptoKit is more than just a wallet. It comes with a preloaded PGP encrypted social network, news feeds from Reddit and Google, and up-to-date charts from exchanges. Finally, CryptoKit Directory allows you to make two-click payments with any of the BitPay merchants. Once you install CryptoKit, you won't need anything else. For more information or to download CryptoKit, visit CryptoKit.com.